Welcome back to the Castaway Consultants, where we talk about some future players. I am one of your co-hosts, Josh Wessler, and today I am joined by Ryan Stacy and Derek Kubicek. But before I let them, jump in here, I just want to say how excited I am to talk about the cast of Survivor 50. We are going to be doing a little something special here. We've never done a special episode before where we're not just covering an episode or a set of episodes with our Rewind series and recapping what people did right and what people did wrong. No, today we are talking about the much awaited season 50 cast of Survivor. I'm very excited to get into it. So, without further ado, Ryan Stacy and Derek Kubicek, how are you guys doing?
Pretty great. I'm pretty excited about this. Yeah, we've never done a bonus episode before. First time we've done it. People wanted it. We're here to deliver. So what is going to happen tonight is we're going to talk about all the known cast members of Survivor 50. And then as a special treat, the three of us have each devised our own dream cast list for season 50. We are in charge of casting season 50. Who are the 24 people we are putting on? We have not talked to each other about who we have. We each have our own list. It's sure to thrill some and piss off others. And I cannot wait to hear your reactions to my list, and I cannot wait to hear your lists.
I'm just going to build off of what these two have said. We've never done special episodes like this before, but as we inch ever closer to the end of our Rewind series, which I can't believe it's right around the corner. It'll be here before we know it. We have a lot of fun topics that we've thrown out there throughout the 5 years we've been working on the podcast. And we plan on making those episodes too. We're not here to clog up your podcast queue, so you don't have to worry about us being overindulgent in our newfound freedom.
We have two bonus episode ideas. We have two extra episodes that we have ideas for that we think will be fun. That's it. That's what we got.
Absolutely. But I am excited to talk about a lot of this tonight. If you have not prepared your own Survivor 50 Dreamcast, while you're listening to this, if you have free time, devise one. Send it to us in a comment, or if there are just thoughts you have on the current list, let us know your thoughts on the actual cast list as well. So always feel free to participate and reach out with your thoughts as well and be a part of the Castaway Consultants conversation.
And I would like to do this once this episode drops. Once you listen to this, it'll have dropped. I want to put up a poll, and I want people to vote. Who has the best dream cast list? Derek, Josh, or Ryan?
Oh, boy.
So I would love to get the feedback. I can't wait to get last place. But yeah, so once you've listened to the podcast and heard our list, vote on who's your favorite. I desperately want to know. I think people are going to hate mine. I really do. I really think mine is going to be unpopular.
Wow, you're really hyping us up here, Ryan.
I'm hyping you up in a way like downwards. I'm pushing the hype down, if that makes sense.
This is a proper calibration.
Yeah, I'm calibrating. Yeah. I'm calibrating expectations because Josh, you're going to hate my list.
I already know I'm going to hate your list because I hate so many people that you enjoy. And I know you're just going to put I'm not going to say names, but I know that there's definitely going to be some people on this list that I have clearly on our Rewind series said multiple times I would be okay if they never played Survivor again. After one season, let alone after maybe 3 seasons. Who knows? We'll find out.
So I'm really excited for this. Ever since we came with the idea to do this, I've been really looking forward to this. So I'm glad it's finally here. Should we jump into the real season 50 cast?
Yes. Let's give our thoughts on that.
Okay, let's kick it off. So first off, returning from season 1 Borneo and season 8 All Stars, we have Jenna Lewis, now known as Jenna Lewis Doherty. Josh, what do you think of Jenna? Are you excited to see her back? How do you think she's going to do?
Am I excited? No. And maybe that's a hot take in itself, just because, season 1 and, Jeff specifically said in, interviews when this was being announced, that he wanted this to run from season 1 all the way up until season 49 of Survivor. So I get it. Grab someone from season 1. There's not a whole lot to choose from here, but Jenna's already played twice, and I feel like we saw everything that we could get from her. And honestly, it's probably just because she's one of the only options who would still be interested in doing it. So I understand why it's her, but no, I'm not really interested. And I don't think she's going to do very well, honestly.
See, that's interesting. I'm pretty hyped for Jenna. I've kind of wanted her back. Since we did All Stars on the Rewind, I'm like, you know what? I'd be down for Jenna again, just because I'd be curious to see how anyone from the OG era does in New School Survivor. So get just about anyone, not anyone, but just about anyone from the old time era of Survivor, back when the dinosaurs roamed the Tribal Council set, to be on season 50. I just want to see how they do. So I'm hyped. I know Jenna is a really big Survivor fan. I don't know how close she has watched the show in recent years. So it's a big question mark, and it really just depends on how much she has watched.
I'm really excited for Jenna, mostly because I am really excited for anybody from season 1. It's crazy to say this, but after 50 seasons and a year off because of the pandemic, half that cast is disqualified on age now. So you had to pick somebody who was younger, and Jenna was one of the younger people on that season. So therefore, one of the only people who's can be really seriously considered as someone who can contend for the win. I'm not trying to put shade on the older people. I'm just being more realistic and bowing to history. So I'm very excited to see Jenna. She's not the same person she was 20 years ago, and I don't expect her to play the same way. I think she can do well.
And there's only 2 winners for her to target this time around. So if we do a winner slaughter, at least to be over after 2 episodes.
And she can't hurt Tina this time.
Returning from Season 2, The Australian Outback, Season 8, All-Stars, and Season 20, Heroes vs. Villains, we have Colby Donaldson. I am so hyped to have Colby back. I wouldn't have said the same thing immediately after Heroes vs. Villains. He seemed like he did not have a good time, which was the case. However, I listened to an interview a few years after that. I want to say it was around Ghost Island. I can't remember exactly. He was on an episode of Survivor Know-It-All, Survivor's podcast, one of their live episodes that they filmed in Texas. And I think it was Colby, Burton, and Reynolds all showed up together to be on the podcast. It was just a really fun show. I'm like, yeah, bring all these guys back. But Colby said he had stopped watching Survivor after All Stars and hadn't really watched it all going into Heroes versus Villains, but he got back into it and was really into it. He's like, I would love to play again now that I've really got into it. I understand it again. It's a new era. It's a new stuff. It's very different. I'm down. I'm in. And I'm like, I'm in too. Let's do it, Colby. Let's see what you got. Do I think he'll do well? No, I don't. I really hope he does. I really am curious, but I don't know if it's going to go well for him.
Yeah, my hype meter is pretty well filled with Colby. I'm with you, Ryan. I don't think he's going to do particularly well. Anybody from the first 4 seasons, because 6 seems too late, 5, So anybody from the first 4 seasons who doesn't have a checkered past, I am extremely excited to see you back. Colby is one of the original Survivor legends. Let's bring him each and every time. Let's go.
Well, sorry for being the wet blanket on this podcast, apparently, but Kobe's a meh from me. Is it going to be interesting to see him play again? Yes. Do I think that I've seen everything that Kobe has to offer? Yes. He's kind of along the same lines as Jenna Lewis, where I think that there's better early season people that I would prefer to have on season 50. I get it. He's the really big name, especially early on, it was all Kobe. So I get why he's there. I don't think he's going to do very well. I hope I'm wrong, but just, because I don't think there's going to be a whole lot for him to offer, it's a meh for me.
Returning from Survivor Season 10, Palau, Season 11, Guatemala, and Season 20, Heroes vs. Villains, we have Stephanie LaGrossa. Derek, what are your thoughts?
Stephanie, obviously, her time on Survivor has been a little bit of a roller coaster. She went from a bit of a darling, had a little bit of a fall from grace come Guatemala, and then kind of returned as more of a meh, middle-of-the-road player in Heroes vs. Villains, kind of lost among the big names. I am happy to see her back. Of these first 3, she is the one that I am the least excited to see back. I think that her game may be the most one-dimensional of the 3, weirdly enough. I think, though, if she molds her game, or if she's molded her game with age and she understands how new Survivor is played, she might have an opportunity to do better than Colby. I think that Jenna has a higher upside than Stephanie, but I'm not excited to see her. I'm happy to see her because it's in that, again, early era where hey, I'm just happy we got somebody.
Oh, and we're 3 for 3 with Josh being very meh on these contestants. Stephanie so far is, kind of 3rd out of 3 for me. And you're gonna notice a trend here for me. I really think Survivor missed the boat with a lot of this early season casting. And I say early season as in anything before season 30. But, Stephanie, again, has played 3 times. She was really good her first season, really enjoyable for me. After that, it was, just kind of not a whole lot to offer. So I will be interested to see how she does, but I just really thought that there would have been better choices.
I'm down to see Stephanie again. She's one of those early season kind of legends who I'd be curious to see if they can adapt to the new era. I don't think she'll be able to. I think she's going to do very poorly. Hopefully she can dial it back on the slurs a little bit. But I am very curious. Basically anyone from the old eras, I'm just curious to see how they'll do. I just want to see, because it's just such a different show now. So yeah, I'm curious, but I don't have high hopes. Returning from season 12, Panama. Season 16, Micronesia, Fans vs. Favorites. Season 20, Heroes vs. Villains. And Season 34, Game Changers, Suri Fields. Josh, how do you feel about Suri Fields?
I'm excited to see how Suri plays in the new era. It's an interesting choice just because of how many times Suri has already played the game. This is going to be her 5th season. And is she the record holder for a number of days played? Or is the person who's going to be coming up next, maybe?
Yeah, I'm not sure who's got the record.
But she's up there. Maybe she breaks it after season 50. But I'm very interested just to see how this ends up playing out. I'm excited. I'm not going to spoil whether or not she made my list or not. We'll get to that later. And it's going to be really weird. It's going to be really weird to see whether or not she'll do well. I think a lot of these kind of classic people, especially like the really big name classic people, how they're going to be received. If people are going to kind of see them as more celebrities or people that they can work with or people that they need to take out right away in the game. So intrigue, I guess is how I would say it for Suri.
So Suri, when we got to Game Changers, she was on a tribe with JT and Ozzy, 2 people she had major beef with in previous seasons. And you know what? She outlasted both of them against all odds. If anyone from the older school eras of Survivor can make it to the end and win, it is Suri Fields. She's just coming off a really deep run on Big Brother and then a really successful run on Traders. Suri is a phenomenal player. I think she can do it. I think she can win it. I don't know if she will. She could be the first boot. She can land anywhere, and I will not be surprised. But I'm always excited to see Suri. She's one you can put on any season. I'd be happy because she's such a good and interesting player and a fun character. Are there other people I'd rather see who haven't gotten like a second chance even? Yes. But Suri's kind of like a Boston Rob for me. It's like, put them on. Like, they will be entertaining and fun no matter what. So yeah, I'm hyped to see Suri. I will spoil. We have 12 men and 12 women on our Survivor 50, 24 people for the first time. She was my 13th person. So I was down to 13 women, and I'm like, all right, I'm cutting Suri. Just because she'd played the most times. That was the only reason she got cut. So I'm excited for Suri.
I'm excited for Suri because of what I think she brings to any cast. On a season like 50 that's bringing back a lot of names and a lot of hard game players, she's a pace car. There are some players who come in like Tony. Man, oh man, they're either winning or they are going out first. But you need those players in the field who know the game. They know racing etiquette. They know Survivor etiquette, banana etiquette, coconut etiquette. And they can manipulate players in a way that keeps the game interesting and open. And Suri brings that in spades to anything. So I'll never say no to Suri, but just like Ryan, it'll be 5 times for her now. I would rather see season 50 be closer to a second chances 2 than a 5th chances 1. So, and that is with all reverence and respect to Suri Fields.
Returning from season 13, Cook Islands, season 16, Micronesia Fans vs. Favorites, season 23, South Pacific, and season 34, Game Changers, we have Ozzy Luth coming in for his 5th time, and I don't care. Ozzy, if I could cut one person from the cast, it would be Ozzy. Ozzy would be my first cut. After South Pacific, I was totally on board for Ozzy coming back just because he was so interesting in South Pacific. He was such a snooze fest in Game Changers. It did nothing interesting and nothing new. I don't think we will get anything new from him ever again. I don't know why he's here. I don't know why he's so popular. Cut him. Don't send him to Fiji.
I get what casting was doing, but of these first 5, he is 5th for me. Again, I'm not casting for Survivor 5th chances 1. Ozzy's best chance at winning the game was his first chance, and unfortunately, he was going up against Yule. And while I think there were opportunities maybe in South Pacific, I have my doubts that we're going to get much new from him here in 50. It'll just be Ozzy, but older. And that is, again, all respect to what he's accomplished in his reality TV and OnlyFans career to this point. I worry that this might just be an advertisement for his We'll
Hopefully
see.
not.
We'll see though. I'm happy for him that he's on the season, but I did not need to see him.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you guys. I just don't think that there's a lot to offer here. I remember, honestly, I remember since Game Changers was still early on in my watching career. I think it was the first season that I had watched with Ozzy, and it was the type of thing where I watched Game Changers, and then shortly after that, started watching through old seasons, and I got to Cook Islands, and it made me sad. It made me sad because he's such a different character in person on Cook Islands in his first time around. And, that's why people loved him. And, like Ryan was saying, by the time Game Changers was around, there's just not a whole lot going on there. And I don't think there's going to be, I think we're going to get a pretty similar result here on 50.
He's going to make a great merge boot.
Maybe. He might be a pre-merger. We'll see.
Returning from season 18 Tokenshin, season 20 Heroes versus Villains, and season 23 South Pacific, the other captain, Benjamin, don't call him Benjamin, Coach Wade.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Coach. Every single time that he's come on to play, he has been entertaining. Is he sometimes a good Survivor player? Yes. Is he sometimes a Survivor player who would never find success because he was leveraging religion in order to further his own game? Yes. But say not that he has played the same game 3 times. I have a feeling we are going to get, in his 4th game, a 4th different game. And I am excited for that. Before I banned the social media that shall not be named here on the podcast, he was one of the more active on the platform, and I always enjoyed seeing his name pop up. So, of the people we've discussed so far, he is the one that I am most excited to see back.
I have a real love-hate relationship with Coach.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
Because I always, every season, there are times during the season where I love the things that he does, and in the exact same season, could be just a couple episodes later, I can't stand the guy. So I almost want to reserve my opinion for until season 50 rolls around. It's like, okay, what version of Coach are we going to get here? I'm not very optimistic. I think that we are going to get the type of Coach most like South Pacific minus, culty stuff where, he thinks he's doing a great job, but people don't really respect him and don't think that, he's going to be a threat in the end, even though he might think that he is. And then, it just rolls around and just ends up being, 0 vote finalist in the end again. I mean, I don't know.
He wasn't a 0 vote finalist.
I know. But to be legitimately taken seriously, I just think that is the most likely end scenario here. So I'm again intrigued, but not optimistic, and probably not someone I would have chosen.
I am beyond hyped to have Coach back. He's in the top tier of the people on the season that I'm excited to see. I'm hyped. I'm really hyped. I love Coach. I've always loved Coach. I think he's an absolute Looney Tune. I love him for it. Do I think he's going to do well? I think he could if he's in the right group of people and he gets into a good alliance. I mean, put him with the 48 cast members. He'd fit right in with those guys. So if they can get a good numbers thing going, they can do well. Can Coach win? It depends if he's learned anything from South Pacific. But he's someone who has learned from his previous games. Maybe 4 times the charm for him. I'd love to see it. Go Coach.
The last thing I want to say on Coach, like Ryan just said, he always learns a lesson. Is it always the right lesson? Absolutely not. But again, we're learning.
He's adjusting. He adjusts from each previous season. So
failure is your only true chance at a new beginning. Coach embodies that.
And I will say, with a lot of these people that I'm very meh on so far, just up until this point, I do have to remind myself that it has been 13 years, whatever the math is on that, since we saw these people play, and since they've had a chance to, develop their game into, a winning strategy. So I do need to be a little bit more open-minded when it comes to their ability to win the game.
There you go. There he is. We found him.
Returning from Season 32, Ko-Rong, Season 34, Game Changers, and 38, Edge of Extinction, Aubrey Bracco. Josh, how you feeling?
The trend continues with Josh being very meh.
I mean, we can just start a dialogue on Aubrey right here.
Yeah, I can't wait to see someone Josh isn't mad about.
Yeah, wait until the 30s. Then they'll come around. So, yeah, Aubrey's fine. She never really captured my attention like she did in Ko-Rong with her other 2 seasons. So it really is just going to depend on how she's able to mesh with new era players. And I think she can. Like as far as like people who we've talked about so far, I am maybe like one of the most optimistic so far about Aubrey as far as being able to play new era Survivor. So kind of wait and see, but at the same time, like yeah, I think she's got a good shot.
Cut Aubrey. I don't want her here. She's the second person I would cut. There's like 3 or 4 people I think total I would cut, and I just don't want to see them play again. Aubrey is one of them. I enjoyed her on Co Wrong. She was kind of nothing in Game Changers and Edge of Extinction. However, I have a serious bone to pick with her, and that is she voted for Chris Underwood to win Edge of Extinction. That is something I don't forgive easily because you wasted my time. I don't like Edge of Extinction, and the fact that Chris won is a complete waste of my time. Aubrey, I hold her partially responsible for that. There's basically no one from Edge of Extinction who voted for Chris I would like to see play again, simply because they voted for Chris. I hold grudges, and I'm petty. I can admit this. So I'm not interested in Aubrey. However, I do think she can do well because I think people are going to underestimate her because her last 2 seasons were not successful. And I believe people tend to remember the most recent outing. And since Aubrey did poorly in her most recent outing, I think she can do well here.
I really want to see Camilla and Aubrey play together. I feel like they have very similar games. And it just so happens that Aubrey kind of grew up in the theme era of Survivor, and Camilla, weirdly enough, got to play the most free of the two of them. I hope they get a chance to play together. I agree with you guys. I think that of the people we've mentioned so far, Aubrey has the best shot to win. And it is because her star shone more brightly on Korong and then sort of faded as we move through Game Changers into Edge of Extinction. I am very close to Ryan in the fact that if you voted for Chris on 38, you're a super fan of the game. You have to know that it was going to make fans upset, that the jury was gamed. So I don't think that she has been put in the timeout bench long enough. I don't really want her here because she was on 38. That means that, okay, she's not a winner, so she couldn't be on 40. This is the first returner season since 38, so they brought her back immediately. She needs to be put on the timeout bench for longer. I want her to miss a season or 2 of returning opportunities before I'm willing to forgive that vote for Chris, I think.
And on that same note, before anyone says in the comments, War Dog in Edge of Extinction said, Edge of Extinction, the twist is not on trial here. Well, it should have been. It's a bad twist. Put it on trial. It's always on trial. Returning from season 35, Heroes versus Healers versus Hustlers, we have Chrissy Hoffbeck, who I wouldn't say I was a big fan of. I thought she was a little annoying when she played. However, I am fine with her coming back because I think she was royally screwed out of potentially winning. The infamous introduction of the fire-making twist came in Heroes, Healers, Hustlers, a twist I hate. A twist Derek and Josh are not fond of. I despise this twist, and I remember watching this episode just fuming mad about what happened and how Ben won. So I don't know if Chrissy would have won or if Devin would have won. I'm not sure, and we'll never know. But those two, and to a lesser extent Ryan Ulrich, were robbed. So put them back on because they got so screwed. Do I think she'll do well? No.
I've got a vested interest because I believe that Chrissy was my winner pick that season. So to see her make it to Final 3 and lose because the advantage in the form of information was they couldn't vote out Ben after they hid the idol underneath where he was sleeping by himself and painted an arrow on it. Like I understand that, there's a gaming committee and a lot of this stuff needs to be maybe set in advance. To what extent, I'm not sure. That is probably the most dubious season in recent memory.
Since 1, for sure.
So, yeah, I'm with Ryan. Like, Chrissy, Devin Pinto, I want to see them back because, again, it feels... Something feels off there, and I like it when we can right or wrong. And also, tied for the most number of individual immunity wins for a woman, with 4. So she was a physical beast at those challenges. Can she do it again?
Chrissy's interesting to me. I really wish that we were podcasting when this season came up because I was kind of a less opinionated, but like certified Chrissy hater for reasons that I'm going to wait to get into for when we cover it on our Rewind series. So I don't know, like however many season but teaser for that to tune in whenever that comes up. So like where people want to say that Chrissy was robbed. Yes. Like I'm not going to deny that. But to say that, like, she was this amazing player, I had a lot of thoughts when that was happening in real time. Now, because she was robbed, I'm perfectly like I'm excited to see how she does this time around. Because I think that there is a decent chance that she could have won. So now, like, fast forward how many seasons, I think that she had the type of game that can be tweaked to be a winning game, even though everyone knows your game already. So, and excited to see her come around again, and I think that she's got a good shot.
Returning from season 37, David versus Goliath, Dr. Christian Hubicki.
Hubicki's Law. I want him back. Do I think that he can do well? Oh, I can see him being a pre-merge boot, or I can see him making it to the end. I am super jazzed to see him back, because I think that if I played Survivor, a lot of Christian would come out of me, and I would hope to see success in that. So I'm very happy. This is one of the home runs I think that they hit in casting.
This was the first time when Jeff was revealing the names that I was like really excited to have someone on, because I was like in full agreement, like, yes, absolutely, he needs to be on a returning season. It makes sense that he's on season 50, and I think that he has a shot to win. Like Derek, I don't know how he's gonna do, just because he could be seen as a big threat and voted out early, and he could also mesh really well with new era players. So I'm really excited to see him back. Easy decision.
Yeah, out of everyone on this cast, Christian is the person I am most hyped for. He's my number one draft pick. He's the person I think I would want to win the most. I am so hyped. I love Christian. He's a fantastic person, a really fun character. Wide range. He could be the first boot. He could win, but I'm excited he's back. Returning also from season 37, David versus Goliath, Angelina Keeley. Josh, thoughts?
I did not like Angelina when David versus Goliath was airing. And I know a lot of people like really like her, but I think that a lot of that has to do with just things after the season. I don't know. Maybe I'm not remembering the season very well because it was so long ago at this point, but I don't care. I do not care.
Wow.
So that might be a hot take, but there's so many better options here in the 30s that you could pull from. That is, like, Angelina's just kind of disappointing to me.
Wow, certified hater. I'm pretty hyped about Angelina. I thought she was really funny in David versus Goliath. Yeah, the big question for me is how much can she learn? This is her first time returning, so it's a big question mark. I don't think people will take her seriously as a threat, even though she's one of 3 David versus Goliaths returning. I think she's seen as the least threatening of those 3. So if she can learn from her mistakes, she can win. But that's the big question for me.
Angelina's game is one, I'm with Josh. When we were watching the season, oh man, I thought she was obnoxious. But I want to apologize to Angelina, because as the brain ages and the mind addles and you only remember certain things from a season, I remember what Angelina did on that season so fondly.
Well, she wouldn't let you forget it.
She wouldn't let you forget it. And funny enough, one I think about all the time, involving a certain other cast member yet to be named, and she's just running off into the jungle with this horrible ladder, climbing things she shouldn't be climbing, with producers being like, "You're gonna die. It's not up there. Please stop. This ladder, you're overthinking it." I think about that all the time. So I am so happy to have Angelina back. Can she win? She could, if she took a good hard look at her first game and she makes an adjustment, simply because, like Ryan said, she'll be underestimated.
Returning from season 37, David vs. Goliath, as well as 2 seasons of The Amazing Race, Zombieland, School of Rock, and White Lotus, we have Mike White. Ned Schneebly himself. I love Mike White. Big fan. Loved him on The Amazing Race. I've loved him in everything. I've never enjoyed a Castaway strolling around the beach looking for an idol holding a glass of wine in his hand so much. So I love Mike White. He should have won David versus Goliath in hindsight. The big question for me is, he's a wealthy guy. Can he win being a wealthy man? Maybe. I think he's got the skills and abilities to win. I think people might want to take him to the end because he might not get the votes because he's so rich. He could do well. He could win. He could be the first boot.
Everyone who's on the season with Mike White, if you want to get confessional time, vote him out early. I think that Mike White is going to go a long way. I don't think there's a chance, like snowball's chance in hell, that he wins. and it's because he's famous and he's wealthy. This Mike White may have been my favorite person to be coming back because I loved him on David versus Goliath, and like Ryan said, in hindsight, should have won.
Mike White was one of the biggest surprises from David versus Goliath. I had very low expectations for him, and I was very pleasantly surprised. I was very excited when Jeff read his name on the cast reveal for season 50. I don't think he has a shot to win, not because he's not capable, but just because I think it's just so much of an uphill climb for him. Now, I will say I don't think he's going to go early. Like Derek, I think he's going to be early post-merge boot, maybe all the way up until like 6th place. I think that, people are going to really get along with him, and it's just going to be such an easy group of people for him to just jive with. The one little like meta thing that I'm curious about, and we'll never know this, we will never know this unless something leaks about it. Will people align with him and keep him around with an offhand shot of getting on White Lotus? Because he has been putting Survivor cast members, people who he has been on seasons with, on White Lotus, and to me it's a little weird. It's a little weird now that he's going to end up playing, and people might already know this.
I would align with him to get a shot on White Lotus.
Exactly. That is a meta part of the game that influences alliances and how people play. Is that, wholly different from a poker alliance, for example? I think so, because there's outside motivation. But well, like I said, we'll never hear it. That will literally never air on Survivor 50. Maybe after the fact. Who knows?
Returning from season 38, Edge of Extinction, we have Rick Devens.
I'm okay with Rick coming back. He's one of the people on season 38 who voted for Gavin. So he didn't commit the ultimate sin on that season of voting for someone who came off the edge. He had a fun game. It is worth remembering that he played hot-headed. When he came back from the edge the first time, we saw him lose his cool with his tribe who had voted him out, and it was a situation where it had to be done. In one way or another, if he can't keep a cool head, he will go out early, and there is no edge to save him this time. Devens could go to the end and win with his charisma, but if he loses his cool, he'll go home early.
Rick Devens is the person I'm most excited for.
Oh, okay.
And this comes off after me saying, Christian and Mike White were also people I was very excited for. Rick Devens is number one on this cast reveal for me, and like he one of the easiest choices to put on this cast, in my opinion. I think that he's got a very real shot to win. I think that he can be an exciting person to align with, very entertaining, great with confessionals, just overall entertaining player. And I think that like that's really all I have to say about it. It's an easy thumbs up, hands down, put him on the season for me.
Rick Devens. I'm excited to see him play again. I like Rick Devens. He's one of the only redeeming qualities of Edge of Extinction. I don't think he's going to do well. I think he will get targeted early for being a big threat. So I don't think he's going to do great, but I like Devens. I'm glad he's back. All right, returning from Survivor 42, Jonathan Young. Josh, how you feeling there?
I don't know. This is one of them that I've gone back and forth on. I was not excited when Jeff first wrote his name up, but then like after it simmered for a little bit, I've gotten a little bit more excited just because of how much of a challenge beast he is. The only reason why I'm like still like weary about being excited is I think he has no shot to win. I don't think he has any like real strategic game to him. I have a hard time remembering right now, but I think we saw him maybe like try a little bit, but wasn't really successful in getting a lot of like strategic moves going. But I think just, he is the biggest challenge beast we've seen in all of Survivor history. Like as far as influencing a tribe and in immunity challenges. So that alone just kind of adds an interesting aspect to the cast overall. So right now I'm leaning towards, like I'm okay and I'm excited to see how he does.
So Jonathan's interesting. On paper, sure, I'd be fine to have him back. However, I've had a question mark about him for a long time because before he was on Survivor, he worked security for a Alabama politician. I think it was an Alabama politician. Maybe it was Louisiana. I can't remember exactly which state. Who turned out to be like a pedo, sex offender kind of stuff. So I've always wondered about Jonathan, like, Was that just like a random gig he was assigned because he worked for a security company, or did he actively choose out to work for this guy doing security, which begs some questions about his political stances and beliefs and stuff like that, which I factor in heavily on who I want to come back and not. So I have questions. I don't think they will be answered. So that is there's a big old asterisk next to Jonathan. If we just take into account what he did on the show, fine. There's other people I'd rather see, but like, fine. But there's a big question mark here for me.
If we're building out a cast of diverse people and body types, you need to have the clear and obvious challenge threat. And Jonathan brings that. Is he a merge boot? Probably. Is he going to win? Absolutely not. Of the people mentioned so far, I think he has the lowest shot of winning. And that's not meant to be a dig at him. I'm just thinking back to that Alliance of Four. Was it Tuku? I don't remember what alliance it was, but it was Lindsay, Marianne, Jonathan, and Omar. Of those four, Jonathan was getting fourth, I think. So I'm happy to have him. It's okay to see him, but I don't think he has a chance to win.
Moving on to season 45, we have D. Valadares, one of our 2 winners. Of course, bring back D. Basically, any winner I'm cool with coming back, and D was a fantastic winner. I'm super on board for D. Will she do well? I don't think so. I think she'll get targeted early.
If you let D get her footing, she could go deep again. Her game startlingly reminds me of Sandra's. Dare I put them in the same name? So I'm very excited to see her play again. If they don't take her out early, I think she could go very, very deep and make it to that top 5.
I always have mixed opinions when it comes to winners playing, and it's they're just kind of just there for not like a specific reason, like not like a theme. So am I really excited to see how D does? Absolutely. Like, I love D. Like, D's a great player, very entertaining, and I'm very interested to see how she does, as we'll get to with another person here coming up in the new era. I just have some questions about how the dynamic is going to work with winners on season 50, especially because there are only winners from the new era. There's no old school winners that are here. So that is the only hang up for me about whether or not like I would have made this move as far as putting her on this cast. But excited, like Derek, I don't think that she has a chance to win.
My biggest question is, will D's toes have any bearing on whether or not she survives a day further in the game?
Also returning from Survivor 45, we have Emily Flippin.
I saw a really, really funny post about Emily Flippin, and it was like the little domino falls, and then it leads up to this big domino falling at the end. The little domino was Hannah Rose takes her first puff on a vape, and it ends up with Emily Flippin winning season 50 of Survivor because she was going home first because she wanted to push back. She was being the analyst. She was being analytical. She wasn't being thoughtful about the person aspect of the game. We saw her change that in the middle of that first game and be a legitimate threat to win until she was taken out at 7th. She has a real chance to win this game, among the most possible to win this game, in my opinion. So I'm excited to see her, if for no other reason than she's in a job that's similar to mine, because Josh and I heard her on a podcast before she was ever on Survivor, and because we saw her be dynamic in her first season. There's no reason to think she can't come back and be even more dynamic on a second go around.
Emily might be the one I'm most interested in. Maybe not the most excited for, but most interested in, just to see how her game is different. Just because she had such a change from day one up until she was voted out. There was just a ton of growth in that first season. And I thought that she was playing from behind almost the entire time during her season. So now when she gets a fresh slate, everyone has seen her play. You know, she knows how she needs to play a little bit better and be more social, and just kind of treat the game a little bit differently. I think that she definitely has a shot at winning. And she doesn't really seem like the type of person who would get voted out really early, unless she does, unless it's something that she gets in her own way, basically. So I am very interested, I'll say.
Emily, I'm totally down to see play again. I enjoyed her on 45. I think she can win. I think she's definitely a front runner to win this season.
On paper, yeah.
On paper, yeah.
Yep.
Returning from season 46, Q Burdett.
Absolutely not. This was the biggest no from me.
Oh my gosh.
I'm absolutely not interested in Q. He was fun early in his season, but there was a certain point where that changed and he just became I don't even know what the right word is. Like, was he complacent? Like he was like borderline quitting, it seemed like. And I just had like after that happened, I don't care about Q. So I think that there are so many more people that we could have on this season instead of him. So no, 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 no.
Q is interesting because I think he's the first person you could consider a time bomb that you have on this season where you have to defuse like an Abby Maria type. Someone.
Oh yeah, so he's perfect for Ryan's cast.
Well, hang on. Yes, on paper, sure. Like of all the guys who's ever played a Survivor, Q might be the biggest male time bomb ever. I would have been fine with Q coming back. I'm still a little salty he voted for Kenzie because I don't really understand it. I know his reasoning at Final Tribal Council was bad, so I hold grudges. I'm not thrilled that Q is back. If he had voted for Charlie like he should have, I would have been fine with Q coming back, but I hold grudges.
What a terrible grudge to hold.
No, I hold grudges. It's a fine grudge to hold. So Q is interesting. I think he's entertaining. I'd rather have somebody else here than Q, but like I'm not mad he's here. I'll put it that way.
I am closer to Josh than I am to Ryan, but I'll take the Josh spot here and kind of be in the middle. I don't want Q here, but I'll give him a chance to turn over a new leaf. Like Josh said, I was really annoyed that pretending to quit or resigning himself in a sort of stoicist fashion on season 46 got really, really annoying. It got old fast, and it was a shtick that the edit either didn't do it justice or purposely played up to the point of being a nuisance. So I don't want him here, but I'm willing to give him a second shot.
I think the big thing is I'm on the same page as you, Derek, where I am willing to give him another shot. I'd be interested, I guess, to see how he would play again. But we're talking Survivor 50 here. I'm not excited for him on Survivor 50 just because this is supposed to be just such a monumental season. Q does not belong on season 50. I'm sorry.
Also returning from 46, and I'm sure she's thrilled to be playing with Q again, Tiffany Nicole Irvin, who was my winner pick from that season. I like Tiffany. Am I like pumped to see her back? No. She was fine though. Perfectly fine. I like her. I'm fine that she's back. Of the three people from 46, she's not my favorite. She's not my least favorite. Oh, I think she could win, though. I do think she can win.
Tiffany could absolutely win. And of the new era, I am high on her as someone who I would have liked to see come back and return. Spoiler, she's not on my season 50 dream list, but I'm not offended that she's here. I'm happy that she gets to play again. I am so sad that she has to play again with Q. Why would you do that to her?
That's exactly why you would do that to her.
This is the Jerry Colby thing all over again, except at least when you brought them back, you put them on separate tribes.
I mean, they might.
I hope they do, because I really don't want Tiffany's game to be diffusing the Q bomb again. Just vote her out first at that point. Francesca her at that.
I'm fine with her. She does seem a little out of place here for Survivor 50. It's kind of like one of those like old school Survivor returner seasons where there's a couple of people that's like, really? Like, I'm not offended by it, but like, really? Them? Okay, sure. But sometimes we've been surprised by those people before. So can Tiffany get it done? Absolutely. Am I excited? Sure. Yeah, again, a different returner season, I'd be a lot more excited, I think, versus season 50.
Also returning from 46, Charlie Davis.
Weirdly enough, I would rather have Tiffany back than Charlie. I don't know if it's because of Ryan's reaction to Charlie getting second place, but I cannot shake the feeling that I'm not ready to see Charlie play again yet. I know my opinion is the wrong one, so I am forcing myself to grant him a chance. And here's the thing. I know he's going to deliver. I know he's going to be entertaining. I know he's going to be likable. I just kind of blame Ryan for this one, because I was very much someone who was in Kenzie's corner that season. So
you can blame Maria and Q.
So I am rooting for. How about that? I'm going into season 50 rooting for Charlie. I really want him to do well and to prove that he deserved a win in his own right.
I'm really excited to see Charlie back. I'm not in, Ryan's camp here. I do think the correct person won in season 46, but does that mean that the person who got second place couldn't legitimately win another season? No, like he absolutely can. For some reason, I think that Charlie is going to be an early boot. I think that he is going to be, one of the first like three people out of this game. I don't know why. It just seems like an easy name to just be like, yeah, we know your game. We know that you can be a threat, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see how he does this time around, though.
I'm super hyped for Charlie. He's one of my favorites on this cast. I'm really rooting for him to win because he should have won 46 and got robbed. I will forever be salty against Maria and Q for that. Justice for Charlie. I hope he wins. He could win. He could be out fairly early. Seed is a threat. So floor and ceiling could be anywhere. But he might be the person that I want to win the most besides maybe Christian. They're my top two, I would say. So I'm really, really rooting for Charlie.
Yeah, rootability is high on Charlie for sure.
Returning from season 47, Genevieve Mushlak.
I'm super excited about Genevieve. She's someone who in her season I really underestimated. I did not think that she was playing a great game until the post merge rolled around, and it's like, oh, here's Genevieve. Somehow she's a threat to win the game out of nowhere. So I'm really excited now that people know her game, and like she's kind of been built up as being a big threat. I'm really interested to see how she does. She kind of gives off some Kim Spradlin. I think that she's gonna have struggles just because I think that she's going to be seen as under the radar threat, which seems kind of weird to say about Genevieve, but just maybe not like a giant name threat.
I'm pretty excited for Genevieve. She was great on her season. Love 47. A lot of fun stuff with her rivalry with Rachel. I think she'll be out early. I think she'll be seen as a threat and targeted early.
If Genevieve can remember that people are the name of the game, I think that there are enough big names and enough egos on this season for her to camouflage long enough to do some damage. She needs to remember the first lesson that she learned on Survivor, and that it's about people. If she can remember that, she can go far.
Returning from Survivor 48, we have three of them for some reason. Camilla Carthigasu. I think that's how you pronounce that. I apologize if I got it wrong. So we just saw Camilla. I enjoyed Camilla. My big thing is I don't want three people back from 48. One is fine. I would say, so we're going to have Kyle and Joe. Those are the three. Pick one of Kyle and Camilla to bring back, and cool, I'm good there. I don't need all three of them. I don't want all three of them. And I do think I like Camilla. I'm interested to see how she'll do in a completely different season beyond 48. My prediction, first boot. Camilla's out first.
Ooh, you know what? I can see it, and I have early boot vibes. This reminds me of what happened at the beginning of Winners at War, I think, especially with recency bias. One of either Kyle or Camilla are going home early. And I'm with you. Bring back one of the two. I would have Camilla over Kyle just because Kyle just won. And Camilla was in a very precarious situation with this particular cast that we saw in 48. I think she has a more realistic chance in 40 or in 50 to win. So I'm happy to see Camilla, and I think she deserves another chance eventually. Why not now?
I'm really excited to see Camilla back. She was probably my favorite person from 48. Just overall, I'm really bummed about this situation. Like Ryan said, there's no reason to have three people from Survivor 48 on this season, especially her number one. Like anyone's number, like tight duo. Like it would have been just as egregious if this was Kyle, Joe, and Eva. I thought that like that would have been ridiculous as well. So I hate the situation that Survivor is putting Camilla in. Put her on any other returning season, I think she'd have a lot better chance at winning the game versus what situation she's going to be put into here. So I'm excited to see her back. And if Kyle ends up being, one of the first like two people voted out of this game, I think she has a chance to win. Otherwise, I do agree that she could be the first person out just because of that relationship.
Also returning from Survivor 48, Kyle Frazier, our winner. One of only two winners.
He's a winner. Bring him back. Let's see what he can do. But again, it's three people from 48. I'd like to see more diversity here, but I'm not going to say no to a winner coming back. Can he duplicate it? He said it himself. He's a well-rounded winner. He's a well-rounded player. I think his game does translate to other seasons, and I think he's got enough humility to navigate the egos successfully however they find themselves meshing together. Kyle, he could win.
Copy and paste what I said about D here. It's basically the exact same thing. Not sure how I feel about winners, when there's just like two winners, both from the new era, both from fairly recent new era seasons. It just feels like they're going to have a really hard uphill climb. And that's that's not really the situation that I want a winner to be put in when it comes to a returning season. So I think he's going to have a really hard time, winning this game. Almost like basically, like I said with D, basically no shot. He's shown that he can win, so it's not 0%. But I think it's going to be really difficult.
Keep Camilla, cut Kyle, put Jam Jam on instead. I think Kyle can win. I think Kyle could be out immediately. Like I said, I was not big on 48. I do not need 3 people here. Yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. Finally, we have Joe Hunter also from 48.
This is so weird because I wasn't super excited when Jeff first read his name. But thinking about it, I am excited to see him back again. I think I would have preferred him on a different returner season rather than season 50, but I really am intrigued about how he plays his game without Eva there. I think that really changed the outlook from day one about how he played the game. Maybe his game wouldn't have been as successful. Maybe he would have fell like flat on his face. Maybe he would have betrayed more people. I don't know, but I'm going to be very interested to see how he formats his strategy without, having just the strong loyal person alliance. Or who knows, maybe he just pairs himself with Coach and has a strong loyal person alliance. We'll see.
Colby, Coach, Jonathan, Joe, Kyle, Camilla. Boom, game over.
I've thought about this.
And an Ozzy if I didn't say him.
Yeah.
I don't want Joe back anytime soon. Maybe someday. It seems like a great guy. I'm just still 48, man. I'm not for it. I think he's going to get absolutely rocked when he runs into some real Survivor players. He is my merge boot prediction.
I feel the same way about Joe on this season in terms of how he's going to do. I feel the same way about Joe on this season as I felt about Ben on season 40. I'd rather have Joe back on season 50 than see Ben play again. So I think Joe is going to struggle. Now that he's had a chance to go through his personal story, the one relating to his sister, and he, again, won't be playing with Eva this time, I expect to see a very different game. Will it get him voted out early, like a Tony? Maybe, but he's not Tony. So I'm excited to see Joe back most of the 3 on 48, weirdly enough, but it's probably because he was my winner pick and I'm invested.
The last 2 people are from 49. We don't know. We got nothing. Got nothing for you.
Got nothing for you. Time for our dream lists.
I mean, we can definitely say if we like that, because me personally, I do not like that we have 2 mystery 49 people, just because I think that it provides like I don't know if it's going to be an advantage or not, but I think that it's kind of crappy that they're able to see everyone else's game and no one else can see how they had played previously. It goes back to Russell in Heroes versus Villains.
We've done this a few times, man. It's
yeah,
fine.
and I have not liked it any time.
So
like,
fine,
but that
none
is
of
my
those
opinion on it.
None of those people have ever won. None of them.
I'm just saying.
So whatever. I don't care about this 49 thing.
I'm ambivalent.
Let's move on to our Dreamcast.
Yes.
So we each have 24 people. No one from 49, obviously. Screw 49. So we have 24 people to run through. Here's who we would like to see on 50. Question before we do this. I'll go first. How many people from the season 50 real cast made it onto your list? Because mine has 1. Only 1 carryover.
Oh my gosh. Let me count.
3.
7.
Okay. Let's do this thing. Returning from season 1, Greg Bowie. Coconut Phone himself. I don't know if he would ever do it, but he's my season 1 pick. I want some from season 1. It's Greg. Returning from season 3, Teresa T-Bird Cooper. Returning from season 4, Sean Rector. It's a crime against humanity. He hasn't played yet. Returning from season 6, Dina Bennett. One of my favorites who isn't talked about nearly enough. Returning from season 6 and season 8 All-Stars, Rob Cesternino, Survivor Know-It-All himself, absolutely needs to play again. I don't know if he wants to, though. Returning from season 9, our winner, Chris Doherty.
Chris Doherty. You never hear anything about the guy.
Rarely hear from Chris. I love Chris. Put him on. Returning from season 10, Palau, and season 20, Heroes vs. Villains, one of my all-time favorite winners, Tom Westman. He's the best. I love Tom. Speaking of coconut phones, how about a BlackBerry? Returning from season 12, Shane Powers.
I was waiting for that one. That was my certified Ryan pick.
Absolutely. Returning from season 13, Cook Islands. Season 16, Micronesia Fans vs. Favorites. And season 25, Philippines. One of my all-time favorites, Jonathan Penner. Here we go. I think we're going to get some hate now. Returning from season 17, Gabon, and season 26, Caramoan, Corinne Kaplan.
Corinne Kaplan. That's my second certified Ryan pick.
I love
here.
Corinne. Love Corinne. Also returning from season 17, Crystal Cox.
Wow.
What? What?
Put Crystal on. I love Crystal.
Why?
Because she's a wild card and smarter than given credit for.
Look, I love the pick. I would take Crystal over a lot of the people we have on 50. I just wasn't expecting to hear two names from Gabon today. I'm delighted.
We aren't done yet with the craziness. We're done with Gabon, though. Returning from season 21, Nicaragua, Holly Hoffman.
All right. Well, South Dakota's own.
Okay.
Returning from season 25, Philippines, and season 31, Cambodia, Abby Maria Gomez.
Wow, I'm so shocked.
Put her on every season. Put this guy in every season. Returning from season 28, Cagayan, 34 Game Changers, and season 40, Winners at War. My favorite winner of all time, Tony Vlachos.
Again, not surprised.
Wow, yeah.
Shocking this person hasn't returned yet. Returning from season 32, Ko-Rong, Braun Tribe, Sydney Gillon, however you pronounce that. Returning from my favorite season, season 33, Millennials vs. Gen X, Jay Starrett. Mostly known from the challenge these days, but I love Jay. Possibly the most Rob Survivor of all time, returning from season 36, Ghost Island, Dominic Abate. Another one of my favorites. The only person who's actually on season 50 that made my list, returning from season 37, David versus Goliath, Dr. Christian Hubicki.
All right.
There it is.
I think this is possibly the most controversial one next. Returning from season 38, Edge of Extinction. Dude, bro, it's Reem Daly.
Reem Daly.
What
She's
a
the-
terrible pick.
She's the one person I've forgiven for voting for Chris Underwood because she never met Gavin. Literally never talked to him once. They never had the chance. Whatever. I love Reem. I think she's hilarious. I want Reem back.
Bring a first boot back for 50.
Absolutely. Why not?
Dude, I know you were expecting hate, but I'm kind of loving your list.
Josh?
It's fine.
It's fine. Okay.
Wait, I'll wait. You'll see.
Okay. We got 5 left. Returning from Survivor 42, winner Marianne Oketch.
Flawed but worthy winner.
Yeah, I'm shocked she's down in the season. I love Marianne. Huge crime that he is not on this season. Returning from Survivor 43, Jesse Lopez. I had a really hard time picking between him and Cody, but I decided on Jesse. Returning from Survivor 45, Franny Marin. Without the showmance this time. Also returning from Survivor 45, Carolyn Weiger, Minnesota's own. And finally, rounding out the cast, another controversial one. Had to end on a positive note. Returning from Survivor 46, Venus Vafa.
Wait, what?
Venus. And that is my cast of 24.
Small amendment to that list, Ryan. Franny Marin is on season 44 of Survivor.
Did I say 45?
45.
I apologize. That's my bad. Yep. So that is my cast of 24, and it's a brilliant cast.
So, okay, now that you've given the names, Josh and I have had a chance to develop a vibe for this. What was the vibe that you were going for when you built the list? Because it definitely has one.
Messy. No, I like a lot of messy players. It's a lot of fun personalities for me. It's people I enjoy watching. The skill level, all over the place. First boots to winners. But these are people I want to see on Survivor from a wide range. So I just literally picked my favorites. These are my favorites, and I tried not to pick people who've been on 5 times. I think Jonathan Penner and Tony were 2. This would be their 4th time, but like I love those 2 so much that I don't care. So these are people I wanted to see play again, who I love, and that's my cast.
All right. Well, I'm going to start off my list with giving you guys a theme and a rule that I applied to myself when I was picking this cast. My theme is something that I believe Jeff said, either on a podcast or in an interview about what they were going for with season 50, is that this is what Survivor is all about. So that was my theme. This is what Survivor is all about. And the one rule that I gave, because I like to do this, I've always wanted to see this with a returner season, none of my players have ever played with each other.
Wow.
They have never crossed over in any season.
Jeez. Okay.
That's hard. Wow, with the old
That's
school
really hard.
players.
Yeah, it is. So that's why some of my names, it'll be like, oh, well, there's someone on that season that is maybe more legend or maybe a more fun player. This was me trying to be like, hey, this is what Survivor's all about, and none of them have played with each other. Returning from Survivor Season 1, Greg Bowie.
Yep.
Stipulation. I hope that everyone on Season 50 really wants to play Season 50. And if anyone on my list doesn't want to play Survivor again, obviously, I don't want to see them again. But we're assuming everyone wants to play. Greg Bowie.
Big assumption with Greg.
Returning from Season 3, Teresa T-Bird Cooper. Returning from Season 4, Marquesas, Sean Rector.
Great minds think alike so far.
It's getting spooky with Ryan, but I will skip over who he had next. My next name comes from Season 6, Season 8, Rob Sesternino. He's done so much for the Survivor community. I know he said that his heart wasn't always all the way in it for 50, or maybe they're teasing us for Jeff's last season. We'll see. But Rob, if he wants a spot, he should have one. Returning from Season 7 and Season 31, the lawyer himself, Andrew Savage, and it's mostly for what viewers or listeners will remember from the end of the Season 48 podcast. Andrew Savage in Season 31 is who in my life I aspire to be.
Someone who combs their
wakes
rock
up in the
garden?
morning, rakes their rock garden, and is generally trying to bring peace, happiness, and just chillness to the world. Oh, but not afraid to stand up for their values.
Yeah, stand up against a psycho like Joey Amazing.
Correct. Here's my first weird one. Back from Season 13, Cook Islands, Becky Lee. Because on a different season of Survivor, I think Becky can win. She was up against Ozzy, one of the first physical phenoms, and she was up against the Tyler Perry idol, which I think deserves more credit for Ewell's win than sometimes it is given. If Becky finds that super idol, she could have won instead.
Bad pick. Whoa, who said that?
Ryan, you had Reem on your list.
You guys called me out for it, and I'm calling out Derek for having Becky on.
I
his
said
list.
I like Dream.
Yeah,
I brought positivity. So coming back from Season 14, this is my What is Survivor All About? One of the original people to be screwed by a swap, Michelle Yee. It is time she gets a chance at redemption on a season that is what Survivor is all about. Bring back Michelle.
Screwed?
Yes, but getting a chance to do it again. Now, this is my homer pick, a late subtraction from the cast. Season 15, 16, and 20's Amanda Kimmel, one of my favorite players. I think maybe my favorite player of all time, not my favorite cast member, who's Keith Nail, but...
Because she looks like your wife.
Amanda Kimmel, I want her on every season. I am so sad to know that she made it far in casting. Maybe her heart wasn't in it. I don't know. But I want Amanda back. Now, returning from Season 19, my first winner, Natalie White. Because what is Survivor all about? The person who played the game wrong, but not as wrong as the worst Survivor player of all time, Russell. Bring Natalie back.
I love that pick.
Bring Natalie back. Can she do it again? And can she do it differently? We're going to jump straight into another winner, and it's a winner who I think has something to prove from a season that I'm way higher on than you guys. Returning from Survivor 21, Nicaragua, bring back Fabio. This was 15 years ago, or better, that Nicaragua premiered. Fabio has grown into a man. I know that's a weird way to phrase that, but I want to know, what would Judd Berza, how would he play the game? We've seen how Fabio plays. How would Judd play? That is the kind of winner I want back on 50, where it's been enough time and the game was weird enough that it would have to be different. Coming back from Survivor Season 24, Sabrina Thompson. Again, one of those players, if you're not playing with Kim Spradlin, you very well could have won, and I want to see her get another chance. Survivor Season 27, one of the more slept-on players on the original Blood vs. Water, Big Brother's own Hayden Moss. He went out taking big swings and happened to go up against Tyson and Jervis, being the Coconut Bandits.
I love that pick. Almost made my cut.
So Hayden, bring him back. Another one I had in common with Ryan, we're fast-forwarding to Season 32, Karang, bring back Sydney Gillen. Someone who, again, could have won. And also, I want to see more of that Storm Sydney, that Storm, the Storm personality who needed to come out a little bit more. Back to the theme of what it means to play Survivor. Season 33's Jessica Lewis, one of 3 people ever eliminated by Rock. Pascal, that's not happening. Katie, too much of a player on 27. And played with Hayden, so couldn't do it. Bring back Jessica. She got rocked out of the game. Anyone with the cojones to get rocked out of the game deserves a second chance on a season like 50. Season 35, the person who, the more I marinate on season 35, the more I think he would have won. Devin Pinto. The original drone shot. Wasted. Season 37, he's got legs just like his wine. Mike White. This is probably the most controversial, the one that I'm most worried about. Season 38's winner, Chris Underwood. He has gone on record himself and said, yeah, I don't feel too great about my win. For me, there are 5 people who are allowed to come back from 38 right now. The 4 people who voted for Gavin. And the guy, don't hate the player, hate the game. Bring Chris back. How well can he do when he's not on edge of extinction? And can he get the taste that people have of his game out of their mouths and respect him more as the player that I think that he can be? Coming back from season 41, near the merge boot, Evie Jagoda. I felt like Evie played a great game up until they were voted out, and I'm excited to see if Evie can come back and make noise on a returner season. Season 42, one of the primary 4, I'm going with Omar Zahir. Bring back Omar. Season 43, anyone who loses to Gabler, I have to be curious about, but I think that Carla was being a little bit sour. Bring back Cassidy. Give her a second chance. Season 44, one of my favorite new era castaways, also on Ryan's list, Franny Marin. Bring her back. I want to see what she can do. Maybe she'll know when to throw the challenge this time. Season 45, Austin Lee Kuhn. I don't know if this would happen because I think he might still be dating Jeff Probst's niece. So I don't know if it's even allowed at this point. But I loved Austin's game. He lost to D, a fairly dominant player, 5-3. He played a darn good game. Season 47, Genevieve Mushalak. Again, got a little Kim Spradlin in her. Can she do it? I don't care. I was entertained. And then season 48, Joe Hunter, just because I wanted someone from that cast who brought a little something different that wasn't in any of the other cast members that I'd already put on. And that is my 24.
Not a bad
Solid list. I like the logic. I love the, no crossing of relationships. That's a very intriguing cast, Derek. Good job.
I can tell that Ryan really doesn't like Becky. I wanted to have 2 question marks on the season as well. Just like any good season of Returner season of Survivor, like, oh, that's a weird one. Why'd you do that?
I don't need Becky. I don't need Joe. I think I'm fine with the rest of it, though.
I love your 2 winner picks just out of the intrigue.
Yeah,
I know you had more, but the Natalie and the Chris Underwood. That's just so intriguing.
Winners with something to prove.
Yep.
All right, Josh, what do you got for us?
My turn. All right. So I don't know if I'll call it a theme, but I did have rules for mine just because, just to be able to, we're working with 48 seasons here. That's a lot of people. If you're just going to put your favorite people on there or the best players of all time, you're going to get a really weird list of people who you've seen just play a ton of times, or you're just going to have winners at war again. So I had 2 rules, and my 2 rules were, one, that I was not going to put anyone on this list who had played at least 4 times already. That it's enough. Honestly, 4 times is almost too much already. Not quite, as you'll see later on. But anything more than that, it's just too much. My second rule, I have no winners on my list because I think that I want a game that can be competitive and doesn't have a different angle as far as, targeting people just because they're winners or, whatever it might be. I'm intrigued to see those type of people play again. Different season other than 50. So from the top, from season 1, Greg.
All right.
Trifecta.
He's the only person from season 1 who I was really interested in, who we hadn't already seen play. Like I said, I wasn't, Jenna is, I guess, a good second place. Season 3, T-Bird.
I'm literally starring the people that we all 3 have on our lists.
Keep those stars rolling for season 4's Sean Rector.
Jeff, take notes.
I would like to say I really think Survivor pre-season 30 missed the mark. I think that there's so many good names pre-season 30 that they just missed, and you guys hit on a lot of them too. Like season 6, Rob Sesternino.
Yep.
If it's gonna be encapsulating all of Survivor, you have to have Rob on there. Like, come on. Season 12, Shane Powers.
Hell yeah.
This one kind of surprised me a little bit, but I was really trying to think about having a lot of like really good game players here, but I'm like, I need a little bit of, intrigue and chaos here. So there's a couple of people here that I tossed in there for that. And you never know. He might still be able to bring it too.
Q might be the biggest male bomb to ever be on Survivor, but
Shane's in the running.
Shane's in the running as well.
Much like Ryan, season 13, I tossed Penner in there as well. This would I think be his fourth time playing. So, we're getting a little close to him playing his fair share. But I just enjoy watching him play so much that toss him into season 50. And then along with Derek, I'm tossing in season 15's Amanda Kimmel. She just has such an amazing track record. I want to see it in the new era. Come on, bring it on. All right, finally. We are finally here at the first time that I have not said something that you guys have already said.
Ooh, new name. New name.
Season 15's Courtney Yates.
Okay.
I like it.
I like Courtney.
I like it.
A little bit of a wild card. I have no idea what I would expect from her, but I think that as far as, getting those eras out there, she seems like a good staple who's not a winner. Season 16. One of the original Black Widow Brigade, Natalie Bolton.
One of the ones who hasn't played again.
Yes. I'm just really interested to see like how she would do on a season that isn't, very imbalanced. So going on to season 18. What's that? Token Sheens? I didn't write the names down next to the numbers. I just wrote the numbers down. So season 18, Taj. Okay. I want to see Taj on there. The second time watching her around, I was a lot more impressed with her game. And I think that one of the more underrated players from season 25, Philippines, Malcolm.
Not Abby Maria?
No, not Abby Maria. Malcolm Freeberg. I think that he is one of the biggest names in Survivor. Has not won and has not played 4 times. I think 3. So, bring him on. Super interested to see how you do in the new era. And kind of along those same lines as Malcolm is my next person from season 29, Kelly Wentworth.
Does not count.
Kelly might have been my easiest name to write down. And I think one of the worst misses when it comes to Survivor. Next up, a name that all 3 of us have. Season 32's Sydney.
I love it.
Also, I do want to say that I think it's insane that Survivor didn't have anyone from the 20s.
Yeah, that was a big mess.
Like, how do you have it span across all eras of Survivor and not have someone from the 20s? Like, come on. And I will say, like, I thought I was gonna have more than just 2 people, but going through those seasons, I understand why there weren't really many great choices. But you have Malcolm and Kelly right there. Come on. Anyways, and then we're gonna get some. This is where I get a lot more of my names that I share with the current season 50 cast. So season 37, Christian Hubicki. Also season 37, Mike White. I thought that they nailed it with those 2, along with season 38's Rick Devens. Boom, boom, boom. The back half of the 30s have been robbed of being able to have a returning season. So we need to reward some of these people. And my last person from the 30s, season 38, Lauren O'Connell.
Okay.
Loved her in her original season. This would be interesting just because she was so tightly aligned with Kelly Wentworth that was the only thing maybe keeping me from putting her on this list is that pre-existing relationship. But I don't care. I'm tossing her on there. Let's see what happens. Jumping into the new era from season 42, I put Omer in there. Omer's a here. And this is maybe the one that surprised me the most, just because of how this person had changed for me. From 42, I'm putting Jonathan Young on my list.
Okay.
Just because I do think that he is the most physical person to ever play Survivor. Biggest challenge has had the biggest influence on, especially team challenges. So, we're getting a really diverse group of people here. I'm chucking them in there. If you'd want to put in someone like a Joe from last season. Yeah, you can have a really strong person, but he's still not even a match for Jonathan. So I'm tossing him on there. Seasons 43, Jesse Lopez. He was, the classic fourth
Yep.
place, maybe the best of the season. Who knows with the fire making challenge, along with also on season 43, the robbed queen herself, Cassidy Clark. She's got to be there. Like, come on, Cassidy. I feel so bad for her. I think she deserved to win the game. She was robbed. It was the, closest thing we've had to a bitter jury here in a while. So,
Mm-hmm.
go her. Seasons 45, Emily Flippin. Season 47, Genevieve. And finally, my favorite person from season 48, I put Camilla on the list as well. So I had a lot of people from the late 30s and 40s that Survivor put on the cast. Thought that they hit, a decent amount of those, but I definitely spread it out in the later part there. And I'm not going to put three people from 48 because then you have room for people like Jesse Lopez and Omar Zahir. Like we need those really good, solid people who have been staples in the new era.
I like your list, Josh. I'd probably, I'm iffy on Jonathan, but I like the rest of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Josh's list has intent behind it.
Yep.
And I like that.
My list also has intent behind it.
Well,
What is my intent though?
I think the intent is to build a cast that would have an interesting game with each other, but adhere to some tradition. Ryan's game is just a toddler who rolled around in paint, and then you throw him on a giant canvas.
No, it's just a minefield. That's all it is. It's just a minefield.
So Ryan's intent was a minefield. I think your intent was a game of Survivor. Mine was almost second chances too. I only have 3 people on my list of 24 that played more than once, and it's Rob, Savage, and Kimmel. So
wow.
I almost did second chances 2.0.
Yeah, mine I really wanted to structure as maybe that's the word, is structured. It feels like a very structured cast, and it feels like a cast where like 90% of the people can win the game.
Could win.
So I want to have no idea who can actually end up winning the game. Everyone's on the table. I understand that I put someone like Jonathan on there. It's for his body. I'm using Jonathan for his body. It's fine.
Oh boy.
But other than that, I think basically everyone else on my list could win. Maybe a little question mark towards a Courtney or a Shane Powers, but you never know.
Josh may be structured. Mine is unstructured. I just want a final 3 of Crystal, Abby, Maria, and I don't know, Reem or Shane.
Or Venus.
Yeah, or Venus. How fun would that be? I either get an insane winner or a really great winner who I like, and I like everybody. It's just mine's perfect. So let us know whose list do you like the most. Which season of these 3 do you want to see put into effect? How many people did we all 3 have?
We all had Greg, T-Bird, Sean Rector, Rob Sesternino, and Sydney Gillen.
So they're all going to be on, but what about the rest? Who do you like? When we put this episode up, vote in the poll. Let us know what you think. What do you like? Structure, second chances, no structure whatsoever, minefield, sanity? What do you like?
And you can go find us on our socials. We will have the list posted out there so you don't have to keep listening to us talk it over and over again. This is best displayed visually.
Yep. All right, this has turned into a longer podcast than I was expecting. So, social media.
Well, as always, you can find us basically everywhere at Castaway Pod or at Castaway Consultants, one or the other. Interact with us, especially on this podcast, in the Spotify comments, YouTube comments, or just in the DMs across the social media's verse. And let us know what your dream cast is, what you think of our cast, that Ryan's cast is an absolute minefield that you don't want to see. Whatever it is, let us know. Stay part of the conversation. Otherwise, the next time you'll be hearing from us is the Millennials versus Gen X Rewind pre-merge, which we just watched the premiere tonight, if we're metagaming a little bit.
Yeah. Before we did the podcast, we watched the Millennials versus Gen X premiere episode. Very excited for that.
Yeah, make sure to go vote on which cast list you agree with the most, especially if it's mine, because that'd be the correct answer. And I don't know, we'll share the results, I guess, at some point. I don't know when.
I was originally gonna edit this episode by tomorrow because I didn't think it'd be that long. It's long.
No.
So I will, I'll edit it and drop it when I can.
Yep. That's all we
this
ever
is why
ask.
we don't do special episodes.
Yeah.
We didn't know what we were doing.
We did. Yeah,
It's almost like we're three people who like talking about Survivor.
Yes. Okay. Anything else, guys?
Nope.
All right. This has been the Castaway Consultants.
Got nothing else for you, believe it or not.
Good night.